Hi, I'm Richard Byrne. In this video, I'm going to show you the simple process I use for creating the Practical EdTech podcast. I've had a few folks ask me what tools I'm using, how I'm doing it, so here it is. It's really simple. First of all, I'm using Screencast-O-Matic, which you can get for your desktop for the low price of about $18 a year, or right around there. 18, 20 bucks a year is what I pay for it. It's the pro version of Screencast-O-Matic. Lets me record using just my webcam, but also record my screen if I want to. And sometimes I do, because I do produce the video or publish the video to go along with the podcast. So I record all of that, and then when it's done, what I'll do is I'll go to GarageBand, and I'm using this on my Mac, obviously. So I use my GarageBand, and I'll start a new empty project. And in that empty project, what I'm going to do is just use audio input of microphone, hit the create button, and from here, what I'll do is go up to my file menu, select movie, open the movie. And the movie in this case is just a sample video that I made, my podcast sample or podcast demo. That will import, and you'll see there it is now as podcast demo. But there are some times when I want to trim some of the audio, maybe the beginning, the end, or there's some middle part that I want to trim out. And you can't do that if you leave it on the default first line here. So what you have to do is hold down your Option key and drag it down to the Audio 1 line. Then you can go back and delete the first audio file, which you see is locked, which is why you can't edit that one. Delete that one. Now the one on audio 1 is unlocked. If I want to trim it, I can now trim it however I want. I can cut out parts if I need to. I'm going to turn off the metronome so I don't have that ticking sound and when I go to publish this. Now I'm going to save it. So we'll just save this as whatever I'm going to call it. Podcast demo. And I can save it in GarageBand or save it to my desktop. Doesn't really matter where I save it as long as I remember where I save it. And now that I've saved it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the share button in GarageBand and export it to disk. I'm going to export this as an MP3 file. Put it on my desktop. I just put it on my desktop for the sake of convenience. There's no other reason. Then I always forget where I put things unless I put them on my desktop. And we'll see there, it's now producing that audio, converting it to MP3 for me. And when that's converted, now what I'm going to do is go to anchor.fm, which is where I'm storing all my audio files and publishing every episode of the Practical EdTech podcast. You can see we have almost 2,300 total plays. Woohoo! All right. So let's go into the episodes button. And I'll hit new episode. You can see here I can record it directly if I wanted to. The reason I'm not recording directly in Anchor is that I want to have a video file that I can also publish on the YouTube channel. So I'm just going to now upload my audio file that I just made. So there it is, that podcast demo track. So that's going to upload. I can rename it if I want to. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to leave it as podcast demo track. And while that's uploading, I'm going to add in some transitions. Let's go to the transition library. And I like this little transition at the beginning, the backspin. So I'm going to use that one, add it to the episode. And every episode I like to end with the bling. So add that. it's in place. Now you can save the episode. Call it podcast demo. Okay. Can write in any information I want in the description. I can put in links in the description. When I'm ready to, I can publish it, or I can save it as a draft. You can see there, you can also schedule a publication date. Just save it as a draft, and we'll see it's locked as of right now. So that's how I am producing the Practical EdTech podcast. It's not complex. In fact, many people say it's very bare bones and homemade feeling, and I'm okay with that. As always, for more tips and tricks like this, please check out freetechforteachers.com or practicaledtech.com.